You're going to hate this upcycling project for so many reasons. First, for the traumatic flashback to 2010 and Joey Jean being squeezing myself into them. Second, because I'm turning them into capris. And third, because you're going to end up liking them. I don't really thinking you just need to cut them. Well, no smart off, because they get smaller and tighter towards the bottom. So to do that, you'll have the circulation to your feet. So you need to make them wider by sewing into the seam lines. Then you're free to fold them over and secure with a stitch. The exciting part comes when you use the extra fabric to fill every scenario onto your tree. Having that, we're just going to cut 5 2cm strips and fold 1/2 cm on each side in. Sew down both sides. Use a belt to work out the length you want, and then sew them in. Then just throw on some heeled sandals, and we have a fabulous 50s look. You're going to hate this upcycling project for so many reasons. First, for the traumatic flashback to 2010 and Joey Jean being squeezing myself into them. Second, because I'm turning them into capris. And third, because you're going to end up liking them. I don't really thinking you just need to cut them. Well,
Welcome back to another 1,000 Pound Sisters recap. We're going to talk about season 7, episode 4. So remember in the last episode, Amy just got hit by a camel, then they went to the hospital, and then the cops came and arrested her and Brian for having marijuana in the car.
So star from TLC's reality TV show Rhonda in court in Crockett County today after an arrest at Tennessee Safari Park.
Halterman and Brian Scott Laborn were arrested on Monday after
Hello. Sorry, over here trying to fall asleep. How are you doing, Mr. Roland? I come live at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you come follow me. It's time. I'm sorry, Roland. I only speak English or Spanish.
Where she's discussing her son Jace's mental health. They're shipping him off to live with his dad Andrew in Florida, the same dad that she spent years and years and years trying to protect him from. We're going to talk about that in today's video, so buckle in. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Janelle Evans, a name synonymous with reality TV drama, rose to fame as a teenager navigating motherhood on MTV's 16 and Pregnant and Teen Mom 2. Her journey, marked by tumultuous relationships and public scrutiny, has kept audiences captivated for years. Among the most poignant aspects of Janelle's story is her relationship with her eldest son, Jace. Janelle gave birth to Jace on August 2nd, 2009. At just 17 years old, she faced the challenges of motherhood amidst personal struggles. Janelle Evans was one of the fan favorites, even if you loved to hate her. Every single relationship she had in the show was a rocky one, full of fighting and drugs. Her mother's fights were no exception to this. They were so disturbing to watch as they'd scream at each other and call each other names. There was just no love there. The only time it seemed that they were doing good was if they were using each other for something. And a lot of people really like Barbara, but although she is funny to watch, I think she has her own set of issues as well. There were lots of clips that we watched as Janelle and her mother, Barbara, screamed at each other and argued, and often these were in front of the baby. Jace would watch on as the two women that he loved would be screaming at each other and calling each other horrible names. It was a very difficult thing to watch, and throughout the years, it didn't get better, it got worse. One thing I feel is very important to discuss is that this child, Jace, learned how to behave by observing the screaming and the fighting from a very young age. Many of us at the time expressed concern, even back then, that Jace may grow up with a difficult life and having his own personal issues, maybe even ending up similar to Janelle, due to the way that he was parented by Barbara and Janelle. I'd also like to give a shout out really quick to Amber Whitwood that we will be discussing in a future video, because she had this horrible take in a live that she recently did where she said that screaming in front of a child does not cause them trauma.
I never beat this child. I never screamed at this child. I've never done anything like that. I'm being treated as a person who is so horrendous. What a horrible mom. Oh my God. When? All the times that I've already spoken to her by ourselves. Oh, shut up. Screaming in front of a kid doesn't cause trauma. Go somewhere else. My God, thank God I'm a millennial, for Christ's sakes. I'm telling you right now. I just love being a millennial. That's not a little feather.
I would like to express that Jace is an exhibit A of how yes, it does. By 2010, Janelle made the difficult decision to place Jace in the care of her mother, Barbara, acknowledging her inability to provide a stable environment. Things did not get better as time moved on because Janelle went from one toxic relationship to another. He struggled with sobriety, and meanwhile, Jace was living with his grandma, Barbara. Now, she had her own set of issues after all. She raised Janelle to be who Janelle is, but Janelle has stated that due to Jace having behavioral issues and becoming increasingly difficult for Barbara to deal with, he tossed him off to Janelle to take care of. Finally, after all this time of fighting and Janelle saying she wanted custody of Jace back and Barbara fighting her on it, Barbara decides to give Jace to Janelle when he's too difficult to deal with, when he's no longer the cute and fun baby. Now he's a teenager and he's harder, so we're gonna give him back to his mom.
This comment right here is completely 100% accurate. It's weird growing up. It's like I had the Barbara that, you know, I was that golden child. I was the good one. I was the one that always behaved, always got good grades. And then, like, as soon as I had a child, it's like I didn't exist to her anymore. And, like, I was replaced by Jace, which is crazy to say. But even though I think she feels that way, or felt that way, still does, that did not give her any right to take away my son. It's like, I can't say too much because, like I said, there's a pending court case, so if I say too much, it's gonna get all wrapped up in that. But yeah, it's just sad she can't take the role as her own parent. Is adamant about being a parent. Period. It's like a competition.
After more than a decade, Janelle regained full custody of Jace in March 2023, a moment that she celebrated on social media. She expressed joy in stating, "Our family is complete now." But if you have not been following this story, this might sound like a positive one. It might sound like one where there was a lot of turmoil and drama, but maybe this person got better and was able to get their child back. But there's so much more that has gone on behind the scenes.
My son is smashing everything in the house, and he's smashing everything in the house. I need to talk to the company.
Now, since he's been with Janelle, he has been in the news and tabloids for behavioral issues. One of the more disturbing reasons he was in the news was due to a fight that he had with Janelle's aggressive ex-husband, at the time her current husband, David. David was not only controversial for shooting the family dog in a fit of rage, but Janelle Evans has also called the police on him for assaulting her.
911, where's your emergency? I think I heard my fucking collar go crack, and I can't move my arm. I can't.
Now, this incident with Jace and David, it is alleged that there's security cam footage where David assaulted Jace on camera. However, nothing more was ever said about this, and at the time that this happened, Janelle defended David and stayed with him. However, later she left him due to him talking to his ex. So I find it interesting how she would leave him when he cheated on her, and it was about her feelings, but she didn't leave him to protect her children. So despite the custody change, challenges definitely persisted. In August 2023, Jace ran away twice in 1 month. Janelle attributed these incidents to typical teenage behavior, stating that this is just a teenage boy being a teenager. In early 2024, Janelle called the cops after Jace exhibited violent behavior, this leading to further scrutiny.
My son is smashing everything in the house, and he's smashing everything in the house. I need to talk to the company. Like anybody in here? Yeah, but there's debris of broken door everywhere. He picked up the cage, the dog cage, and fucking threw it. Pardon my language.
Did he throw it at you or at the door?
No, he threw it down the steps, and he just tried to leave the house.
Okay. Any drugs or alcohol involved?
No.
Any weapons?
Not that I know of.
Is he diagnosed bipolar, schizophrenia, anything like that?
ADHD and defiant disorder?
Does he take medication for that?
No. And he just tried to leave the house.
Okay. Any drugs or alcohol involved?
No.
Any weapons?
Not that I know of.
Is he diagnosed bipolar, schizophrenia, anything like that?
ADHD and defiant disorder?
Does he take medication for that?
No.
Defiant disorder?
Yes.
Okay.
She emphasized the importance of addressing her son's mental health, stating, "Now that this case has been dropped, I'm focusing on Jace's mental health."
I just want privacy for me and my family right now. Jace has been located. He's safe. But that's not the point of this video. I just kind of want to keep my content away from the drama right now.
okay? I also want to say I want to get back to making normal content, so if I don't address certain issues, please don't badger me for it. Thank you.
This was really interesting because she was very loud about how she didn't want to talk about what Jace was going through behind the scenes, that she wanted to protect him and not speak about these things in the public eye. But things have recently changed, and we're going to talk about it. Janelle made the decision to send Jace to live with his biological father, Andrew Lewis, in Florida, citing ongoing behavioral and family issues.
So there are lots of things circulating around on the internet, and I need to talk about it. Not like it's anyone's business, but recently I sent my 15-year-old son to live with his father in Florida. Now a lot of people are asking, why couldn't you handle him? Why would you do that? He had one incident and then you just ship him off. That is not what happened. My son has been dealing with mental health disorders since he's been 10 years old. He was diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 10, and most recently in 2023, he was also diagnosed with major depressive disorder, along with his ADHD and defiant disorder, ODD. Incidents started occurring with my son when he was 10 years old. My whole family knew this. It was a family secret, and we try to keep the privacy of my son. Now, I'm not going to go into detail what those incidences were, but it was pretty bad. A lot of people are like, he's been running away from your home as soon as he got there. That's not the case either. He's been doing this since he's been 10. I got custody because my mother couldn't handle it anymore, because she was in a bad, dangerous situation herself. Things were getting so bad back in 2023, once I got custody, CPS got involved. Once CPS got involved, they thought things were crazy in the household, just like everyone else thinks. But really, what came down to it, 3 months later, after my son was with CPS, they sent him to his aunt's house by marriage, which is David's sister. And he acted out there. At this point, he acted out at every single household he went to. So CPS threw their hands up, dropped the case, and said, let's just give him to his mother, let her handle it. So once again, I got him back. Once my separation started, I wanted to get away from all the negativity, the fear, the pain, the anxiety, the chaos that has been caused by my ex-husband this whole time. So I was like, let's get these kids a fresh start. We're going to Vegas. And things will be good for about 3 to 4 weeks, and then another incident. And it's just like, with defiant disorder, it's very hard to deal with. Kids act out on purpose because they want attention. They have no remorse. They don't know what they did. And if you look it up on TikTok, ODD, you can find out more information about it. Since moving to Vegas, I've had my best friend of 3. She saw his behavior at my ex. Saw his behavior. Everybody saw his behavior behind closed doors. It's just in front of the media and explained it because it was Jesus' privacy. Now we get to the point where it's happened too many times, multiple incidences for years and years and years, and something had to be done. So yeah, I called his dad. I said, hey, I need help. I was in a panic attack. I was crying my eyes out, and I was like, for once, I need your help, and I need you to help take over this situation, because all of us have put forth effort into as much as we can give. We've tried everything we could. I've tried, getting placement in boys' homes, but they are just too expensive and insurance won't cover it. So right now he needs to be in a situation where both households are safe, and separating the chaos from the situation right now to protect my 2 younger kids is very important, and also to protect himself. I feel like when you're co-parenting, if both sides of the family can come together to help solve these issues before they turn into adult and really get themselves in trouble, it's just really important. So I put all the drama aside and said, let's just do this. Jace is now staying with his father, but also his grandmother on his other side,
who he has not seen since he's been a baby. So really, you guys are looking at it as a negative situation, but everyone behind closed doors is looking at it as a positive thing for him. So you guys can say all you want. You can say I'm not taking care of my kids. Being a mother is doing the best interest
thing anymore, but you wouldn't let Andrew see him in a positive manner. She wants him when she, from his father Andrew, claiming that he was not a good person, he would not be a good dad, he did not deserve to be in his life. I find it very interesting now that Jace is too difficult for her to handle and her mom doesn't want to deal with him, that now they're sending him away. Also talks about how they're viewing this as a good thing. But it's funny how it's a good thing now that it's on your terms and you feel like you're not having to deal with something anymore, but you wouldn't let Andrew see him in a positive manner. She wants him when she thinks that it's going to be all fun and dandy and they can just go to Disney and have fun, but whenever things get hard because he has a set of mental health issues that he's struggling with, she's going to ship him off somewhere. She was also in the news last year because she shipped her other son off to be with his grandma for a while. So it seems like whenever she's struggling to deal with somebody, she just ships them off on a plane to someone else to deal with the problem. Now, I will say this, I do not think that Janelle is somebody that should be taking care of Jace. I also think that, with Jace's behavioral issues, it's absolutely not safe for him to be in an environment.
It's not that hard. I'm gonna show you who's the cutest kitty in the room because Astro is my favorite girl. Who's the cutest kitty in the room because Astro is my favorite girl. Who's
The eldest daughter decided to prank her parents. She gave them mugs for Christmas with some text on them. In large letters it said, "Mom, Dad, get ready to become Grandma and Grandpa." They read it, looked at their daughter, and froze in shock. But below, in very small print, there was another message, but not this time. For now, just enjoy these mugs as a gift. The eldest daughter decided to prank her parents. She gave them mugs for...
Deputies with the Crockett County Sheriff.
For them. After she what kind of recipe do you boil chicken in? The only time I boiled chicken like that was for my dogs, and that chicken did not look good. And Steven's fiance.
You know what? It's not. It's not. Then why does it sound like a heater?
And Amanda gets straight into it. Amy, we need to have a conversation. And immediately Amy jumps up, she throws her hands, and she says, "I'm done," and she walks away.
What are we doing?
Well, I'm pretty sure that you already know that we need to have a discussion.
I'm done.
It goes from 0 to 100 so fast. And Chris is like, "Sit your ass down."
Andy, sit your ass down. Give us a minute there.
And then Amanda gets up and she's like, "You know what? I'm not doing this shit either." So she storms off. And I thought Amanda was going to come back, but no, she got in her car and she drove away.
This is not supposed to be a heater bitch. It's not. It's not. Then why does it sound like a heater bitch? They know what I got to say.
Before anybody could say anything, Amy stormed out too. What the hell? Tammy's like, oh god, I knew this was gonna happen. So she plans to approach Amy one-on-one because she realizes that going in on her all at once was probably too much for her.
Being on like intervention kind of thing isn't easy to deal with. So I understand where she could feel threatened by us, but at the same time, she needs to get her act together.
It's Corn Festival time. I've never heard of it, but in my area, we also have like an annual fall festival thing, so I'm pretty sure that's what it was. This year is huge for Tammy because not only is she able to join in and walk around, but she actually gets on a ride.
I can't believe I'm up here!
Oh my god, I was so teary-eyed watching her. Like, it just makes me so emotional watching Tammy enjoy all the things that she was never able to do before.
Being on these rides are very special to me. I'm just shocked that I could get on the ride and fit inside the car cab. Go your hands. Let's go.
Chris looks at some of the food trucks because he's thinking about having a food business of his own because he's worked in fast food for over 27 years. He loves food, and he's thinking about having his own food truck.
I've been playing with the idea about maybe opening up a food truck, and today I found someone that would give me the opportunity to run a shift.
Now Tammy gets a chance to carefully approach Amy about the arrest, and she does it in a way where she doesn't get defensive and upset, and I was so impressed because she was able to get Amy to actually talk about it, and Tammy expressed empathy. She was like, Amy, I can't even imagine how scary it was almost losing your kids. That must have been so hard for you. And then Amy starts to cry, but it's not in a defensive, I'm gonna leave cry like she did the other day. It was more like a, I'm ready to open up, I'm ready to talk about it cry.
That was scary for me. So I cannot imagine how scary it was for you. You're fine.
Tammy tells Amy it's gonna be okay. She hands her a tissue, and she's so gentle, so caring, and she tells Amy, I'm here for you. You can text me, talk to me anytime, you can call me anytime you want to talk about this. And I'm just amazed by this growth that Tammy is showing us. Remember, there was a time where nobody believed in her. Nobody thought that she could do this.
And it's okay. Those two are the reasons of a lot. You talked about for years. That's what you always wanted, was to be a mommy.
I'm not joking, you guys. I always get teary-eyed when I see Tammy because I feel like this is the real Tammy. And all her tantrums and her attitudes and all the mistakes that she's made before this was due to her insecurities. They were her defense mechanisms. They were just her way of lashing out her anger because she wasn't happy with herself. Now it's time for the parade. Tammy and Steven are on a boat representing the LGBTQ community. Everybody's cheering her on, and she's literally living her best life. It's so great. I love to see it.
I'm here!
Hey, Tammy.
Hi! Daddy was good.
You like the float?
Yes, it was great.
Then Tammy and Chris pick up Amy to take her shopping for her court outfit because she doesn't have any clothes that are somewhat professional looking. In the car ride, Chris tries to emphasize the seriousness of the situation, and Amy gets defensive again. She doesn't want to talk about it. She shuts it down. She's like, quit talking about it or I'm going to be in a mood.
It's not dawning on you how serious the situation really is. You can't get much more in the hot seat than what you're at the time at the moment.
No, quit talking about this, y'all. It's just to put me in a mental state.
Ugh, honestly, Amy's getting kind of annoying. In the next episode, Tammy takes her girlfriend to meet her mom. That's huge.
Yeah, I'm kind of nervous about meeting your mom. Just be yourself. Yeah. I've not really ever brought anybody home to meet mom.
By the way, I want to address a snarky little stupid comment that I made on my episode 1 recap. And it was about how Tammy and her girlfriend had matching missing teeth, and it offended some of you, and it hurt your feelings. And honestly, I am sorry for that. I never want to hurt someone's feelings purposely, and especially on something that they can't help. Like, I understand that people have teeth issues. Sometimes it's genetic, sometimes it's not, but they don't necessarily have the funds to fix it, and teeth are very, very expensive to fix. So, I understand that I offended some people, and I'm sorry. I never want to make people feel bad about what they look like or, you know, a physical appearance issue that they have. So I'm sorry, I apologize, because I was trying to put myself in their shoes, and I was like, you know what, if somebody made fun about my acne and my partner having acne, oh my god, they both have matching pepperoni faces, or, you know, acne faces, like, that would kind of hurt. So, I get it, I'm sorry about that. I hope you guys accept my apology. And also, I'm like losing a lot of energy right now, because the past couple days, I have just randomly, I'll have the wind knocked out of me. Like if I'm talking for a long time, I will have this overwhelming exertion of energy. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like I'm just getting the wind knocked out. I can't breathe. So like I get a little lightheaded. I think it's my blood pressure, because every time I feel this way, so last night I felt this way, and then I went to my blood pressure cuff and I took my blood pressure and it was 100/70. And that's a lot lower than what it is usually, because I have hypertension and I'm on meds for it. And I think because of my recent weight loss with the GLP-1 and me eating way less processed food than normal, I think the blood pressure meds that I'm on are too high now, and I need to lower them. So I'm going to the doctor tomorrow to get my blood pressure checked and to talk about that. So yeah, I'm sorry if this recap was super low energy, but I'm having a really hard time right now. So I'm gonna log off. I wanted to go over some comments from my last video, but I do not have the energy for it. Hopefully after I go to the doctor tomorrow, I'll have that issue resolved, and then I will do the comment section of the video in my next recap. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye!
Few counties, there's Utz's Pretzels and Chips. Popular dog name? Oreo. Still with me? Are you still with me, Gus? Huh. Gus is the 32nd most popular dog name. Do you know the 90th most popular dog name? Oreo. I've actually got another idea. Something that helps me fall asleep is listening to voicemails I receive from friends and family. I've got a few here I'd like to show you.
Hello, Joe. Happy Halloween. 20 minutes after 9 on Halloween evening. When you get a chance, give us a call. Hi, honey. Just say hello. Talk to you later. Bye. Happy birthday, sweetheart. I finally get around to it today. Many, many more, honey. I'll talk to you later. I love you.
designed to keep milk cool in the summer.
I'm just gonna go out there and
It's
say
one of my favorites. Okay, I apologize. I was just kidding. These aren't Barnes from central Pennsylvania, they're Barnes from central New York. I try to keep a sense of humor about these neglected barns, or I'll get sad. And I can't get sad about barns. I owe it to myself and to my choir students to not be upset about barns. Are you still with me? Are you still with me, Gus? Hi. Gus is the third. It did work out for my neighbor's son.
sleep is way weirder than we give credit for. You mean to tell me that we spend a third of our lives just obnoxiously close to his face technique, and on day 12 he tried the literally just stand on him technique. And chocolate. So it turns out the chocolate was very effective at disrupting my sleep, which actually wasn't a good thing. The next night I did this really creepy thing where I woke up, waved to no one, and then instantly fell back asleep. And the night after, nothing interesting happened in the night, but I did definitely offend all fans of white chocolate. I hate white chocolate, and I don't get why anyone likes it. It's not, is it even chocolate?
Technically, white chocolate is not a chocolate, and it doesn't really taste like.
Anyway, as the days plodded along, my next discovery was rather horrifying. Now, I consider myself a sleep on my left side till death do us part type of guy. So when I found out that I sleep in some really weird positions, I was quite offended. Also, kind of unrelated, but around day 70, I found out Samwise is best friends with the bunny from next door. The bunny. Friends. I'm gonna cry just thinking about it. Day 85 will go down in history as the most tragic
Bailey,
day of my entire
Bailey,
life.
no.
You see, I'd just been away over the Christmas period for a couple of weeks, and when I came back, day 85, I forgot to turn my camera on. Now, on any of the other 100 days, this would have been fine, but not day 85, because guess what happened? Samwise, at 6 a.m., brought a live bird through the cat flap and then left it beside my head. I woke up to a bird flapping beside my head. The bird was fine, by the way. I was not at all. I should probably note, I am deathly afraid of birds, hence the extreme reaction. It gets even worse though. It gets even worse because a few weeks later, Samwise did the exact same thing, but instead of dropping the bird in front of the camera, which was on, he just dropped it by the door. It was at this moment that I realized maybe, like Toy Story, some things are best left to the imagination. And so, for the first time in 100 days, I turned my camera off and got a good night's sleep. Okay, that's a lie. I actually still sleep with the camera on because if that bird thing happens again, I am not missing it. You feel me?
Why are you standing on my furniture?
really creepy. I'm uncomfortable.
I have a
I'm Jessica.
Would it change things between us if I told you I was bi? I'm asking because that's what someone asked.
Are you telling me that in public now?
How do I tell her I'm in a relationship?
I never did when I was growing up. I slept around, I think, more than anything. I think the only reason I dated him is because I needed an excuse to get out of the house.
Would it be okay to date someone outside of religion?
And you know what? Get a hobby.
How do you know if it's the right guy? If my high school self knew that I was going to be filming a video with my mom, I honestly wouldn't believe it. Because hi, it's Jackie Ann, and I asked you guys to send me questions that you're too afraid to ask your mom. A lot of those questions I got, I can't answer. Disclaimer, we are not licensed therapists, but my mom is a certified mom.
I guess I've been a mom now for 27 years. That is a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, mom.
Answering questions you're too afraid to ask your mom. That's all I have. Mom, do you think that your life would have been better if you didn't have kids?
I mean, to tell you the truth, actually, I did not want to have kids at the very beginning because honestly, I growing up, I didn't really have a really good influence. I didn't have a good role model. And I believe because of that, I didn't think I was going to be a good mother, or I would not know how to do it. But God had a different plan, and so I would never give up my 3 kids. My kids gives you so much life, so much more energy. It gives a different perspective in life. I would have never been able to do all the things you guys have done. Like, for example, I volunteered a lot in, you guys were into swimming. I learned a lot about organization, negotiation. To me, that was more valuable, I think, because it was more like a hands-on experience instead of learning it from a book kind of thing. I'm not.
Would it change things between us if I told you I was bi? This is in the past, and I think I just felt more. I definitely felt more free with my friends to totally be. How do you know if it's the right guy?
Growing up as a Filipino with my family, I was not allowed to date, actually, until I graduated from college.
Oh, what?
Yes.
From college?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And so
That's a long time.
So what do? Because you're forbidden the first thing you do is you sneak around, right? Because what else would you do? So I dated this guy. Oh, I don't know. I think the only reason I dated him was because I needed an excuse to get out of the house.
That's so valid.
I was with him for maybe went out with him for 3 years, but I know.
Whoa, you guys dated for 3 years?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, and I felt really bad about that, but I basically kind of used him because I needed a way to get out of the house. And so.
Oh, wow. You were young.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, that wasn't really acceptable. I always knew from the very beginning that he wasn't the right guy for me because he wasn't as smart as I thought he. I mean, I'm very particular about who I wanted to date.
Yeah.
He wasn't very smart.
He didn't know how to change a tire. I remember that.
Yes. When I dated your papa, I mean, at the very beginning, I wasn't quite sure about him because, I mean, he was such a nerd. And he didn't dress really well.
Those haven't changed. I think. How do I tell her I'm in a relationship?
I never did when I was growing up. I stuck around, I think, more than anything. The only time I introduced,
and you wonder why I was rebellious.
maybe when I was already in college with your papa, I felt more comfortable telling them that I'm in a relationship because he was studying.
Girl, you're actually somewhat attractive. You're gonna look 80 by 30.
I know, I'm trying to quit.
How many
I am.
cigs do you smoke a day?
Depends if I have my vape or not.
How many cigs do you normally smoke a day?
Maybe like 1 or 2, maybe 3.
You're disgusting. You've ruined your entire attractiveness.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not sorry, but like I know I'm still.
You should be, because it's disgusting.
I'm working
You
on
should say sorry to
quitting.
your lungs.
I'm working on quitting.
Vaping's really gonna help that.
I like cigarettes more than vaping, but I can't have a cigarette
Yeah.
everywhere that I am. You're a musician and you don't like cigarettes? That surprises me,
I don't like lung
honestly.
cancer or the smell of death.
Okay, I get the smell of it's not great.
Yeah, and I just want to exist and walk around, and then I have to deal with your cancer air. Girl, you're actually somewhat attractive. You're gonna look 80 by 30.
I know, I'm trying to.
That was rude. That was pretty fucking rude. That was rude. That was pretty fucking rude.
So
good baby.
She was America's sweetheart, the golden voice behind Who's Sorry Now and Lipstick on Your Collar. But behind the spotlight, Connie Francis lived a life filled with heartbreak, scandal, and shocking secrets the world was never meant to know. From a terrifying assault that nearly ended her career to her deep ties with the mafia, every chapter of her life is more gripping than the last. A mobster's threat changed her destiny. A devastating betrayal led to a bizarre adoption, and political wars divided her fans. But the darkest moment came in 1981, when her beloved brother, George, was mysteriously killed. A tragedy that shattered her world and left behind unanswered questions. Why did Connie testify before Congress? What hidden truths did the music industry try to bury? And what was the devastating web of lies that surrounded her? Stay with us until the end as we uncover the hidden secrets of Connie Francis's life and how she lost her voice. Born Conchetta Rosa Maria Francisco in Newark, Missouri, Connie spent the early years in Brooklyn. She grew up in a vibrant Italian Jewish neighborhood, where she found her including English, Yiddish, and Urdu. From a young age, her family recognized her accepting parent. Her father, George Franconero, was especially determined to nurture her musical abilities, enrolling her in music school, where she mastered the accordion. Soon, her powerful voice became the foundation for her legendary career. At the time, Connie was unaware of the extraordinary yet difficult path ahead. After facing early career setbacks, she reluctantly recorded Who's Sorry Now?, a song she disliked but that her father insisted on. Initially, the song flopped, but everything changed when it was featured on a popular TV show in 1958. The track became a massive hit, selling over 1 million copies and launching her into stardom. With this success, she abandoned her dreams of medical school and fully embraced her destiny as a music icon. As her fame grew, she met Bobby Darin, another rising star. Their creative partnership quickly turned into a passionate but tumultuous romance. Though they never officially dated, their deep connection was obvious to everyone, except Connie's strict father, who fiercely opposed the relationship. He went so far as to chase Darin away in a fit of rage when rumors spread that the two planned to elope. Despite her love for Darin, Connie ultimately chose loyalty to her father, leaving her heartbroken. Her pain only deepened when she heard on the radio that Darin had married another woman, Sandra Dee. Devastated, Connie spiraled into despair, even writing in her diary about dark thoughts. Years later, Darin reached out during his troubled marriage, but their reunion was nothing like she had hoped. Instead, she walked in on him with 2 other women, leading to a chaotic confrontation. Professionally, Connie struggled to replicate the success of Who's Sorry Now, and worked with songwriters Neil Sedaka and Howard Greenfield to find new hits. Though she privately disliked some of their ballads, she tactfully guided them toward more upbeat songs that better suited her youthful audience. Despite the challenges, Connie's resilience and talent kept her in the spotlight, even as her personal life remained tumultuous. When Neil Sedaka played Stupid Cupid for Connie Francis, she instantly knew it would be a hit, and she was right. The song skyrocketed to the top of the charts, solidifying her place as a global superstar and breathing new life into her career. But with greater fame came new challenges, including an unexpected venture into acting. The producers of Where the Boys Are, 1960, wanted one of her songs for the soundtrack, but Francis went a step further. She took on a starring role in the film. The movie depicted a quiet beach town overrun by rowdy college students during spring break, and Francis's performance captured the wild, rebellious energy of the era, proving her versatility as an entertainer. By 1963, Francis had shifted her focus back to music, but her personal life remained tumultuous. That same year, she met press agent Dick Canellis, and their whirlwind romance led to a quick marriage in 1964. Sadly, the union was short-lived. Within months, cracks appeared, and by winter, they had already separated. Love, however, wasn't done with Connie yet. At 32, she met businessman Izzy Moran, and their passionate connection led to another rushed wedding. The ceremony at St. Osa's Church was intimate and elegant, but like her first marriage, this one also crumbled, lasting less than a year before ending in divorce in 1971. Just 2 years later, Francis married Joseph Garzili, a restaurateur who seemed different from her previous partners. Unlike her past fleeting romances, this marriage lasted longer, offering her a brief period of stability. But 1973, the year they wed, would be the last time she experienced true peace. On the night of November 8, 1974, everything changed. While performing at a hotel in Westbury, New York, Francis was brutally assaulted in her room, an attack that left her physically and emotionally shattered. The trauma derailed her career, and although she tried to return to music, she was never the same. The incident marked the beginning of a long and painful battle for justice and healing, casting a dark shadow over what had once been a dazzling career. On November 8, 1974, while staying at the Howard Johnson's Motor Lodge in Westbury, Long Island, Connie Francis endured a horror that would haunt her forever. A masked intruder broke into her room, turning what should have been a safe space into a scene of terror. What began as a robbery quickly spiraled into a vicious assault, leaving her battered, traumatized, and tied to a chair by the time help arrived. The attack didn't just steal her sense of security, it robbed her of her joy, her confidence, and nearly her life. In later interviews, Francis revealed the chilling details of that night. She recalled trying to reason with her attacker, speaking to him as if he were a troubled man rather than a monster. How could I be pulling this off, she remembered thinking. I talked to him like he was a human being. In a desperate bid to survive, she revealed her fame, hoping the fear of a high-profile investigation would stop him from killing her. That split-second decision may have saved her life, but it couldn't shield her from the psychological scars that followed. The aftermath was devastating. Frances, once a radiant performer, fell into a deep depression. She sued the hotel for negligence and won, but justice for her attacker remained elusive. He was never caught. Worse, the people she depended on for support failed her. Her father, who had once controlled every aspect of her career, coldly told her she was damaged goods. Her husband, Joseph Garzili, initially stood by her, but as weeks turned into months with no improvement, he walked away. I don't blame him, Frances later admitted. I wasn't the same person. How long can someone watch you lie in bed, broken, before they give up? The assault reshaped her entirely. The woman who once commanded stages now feared leaving her house. She spent days bedridden, drowning in guilt and shame, feelings amplified by her strict Catholic upbringing. Italian families don't talk about trauma. We bury it, she said. Her marriage crumbled, her career stalled, and her spirit fractured. In a final attempt to salvage her life, she considered returning to music, hoping it might win back her husband, or at least help her reclaim some part of herself. But the road to healing would be long, and darker trials still lay ahead. Frances' story is a harrowing reminder of how violence can strip away even the brightest star's light, and how the world often fails survivors when they need compassion the most. Connie Francis clung to a fragile hope. Maybe if he sees me with a microphone again, he'll love me. She believed that returning to the stage could heal both her shattered marriage and her broken spirit. But fate had other plans. As she prepared for her comeback, she faced every singer's worst nightmare. Her voice was gone. The instrument that had defined her life, brought her fame, and given her strength had abandoned her. The cruel irony wasn't lost on her. The very thing she had hoped would save her had slipped through her fingers, leaving her more lost than ever. Desperate, she underwent multiple nasal surgeries, yet none restored her full vocal range. I lost my mind already, and now I've lost my voice, she confessed, the despair in her words echoing the depth of her devastation. Determined to hide her struggle, she kept it a secret, even from close friends like Frank Sinatra. But her silence backfired when Sinatra, unaware of her condition, asked her to sing Mama as a tribute to his late mother, Dolly. Frances refused, later calling it the hardest thing I've ever had to do. The emotional weight of disappointing him while hiding her truth only deepened her isolation. By 1978, after years of darkness, her voice began to return. She threw herself into music with renewed passion, experimenting with disco and recording in multiple languages, Italian, Spanish, even Japanese. Her comeback was more than professional, it was personal. She performed on American Bandstand's 30th anniversary special, standing strong in the same town where she had once been attacked. It was a triumphant moment, proof that she could still rise. But unresolved trauma has a way of resurfacing. The 1980s brought new struggles, depression so severe she underwent shock therapy. In 1984, overwhelmed by pain, she attempted suicide, slipping into a coma for days. Miraculously, she survived, but the ordeal forced her to confront the wounds she buried for too long. Even
can ask the flowers. I sit for hours, telling them with bluebirds, the blue and coo birds, pretty little baby. I'm so in love with you. Now it's the time, both of us are young. Puppy love is hell its day. Virgin young. The pop shop with me in your ears. Love the better, it's irritable. So in pretty little baby. Let's just be done.
I took anything out of school, but when these two started out, Connie Francis and Bobby Darin, they were kids around, Tin Pan Alley, they used to go together. He was her fellow.
Oh,
And I think that this started all over again because today, despite the fact they only had an hour, Steve went over and got her a pizza pie. You two of you sing together?
That's the best thing in the world we could ever do. Okay, fine.
Now we're going to, for the first time in...
Okay, fine.
Now we're going to, for the first time...
The best thing in the world we could ever do. Okay, fine.
Now we're going to, two of you sing
That's
together?
the best thing in the world we could ever do.
You two of you sing
That's
together?
the best thing in the world we could ever do.
Today, despite the fact they only had an hour, Steve went over and got her a pizza pie. You two of you sing
That's
together?
the best thing.
Tin Pan Alley is being recording. These two are going to sing a duet for you. I know more than 18.
You make me feel so spring is sprung.
Every time I see you, friend, I'm such a happy individual. God ever knew.
Okay. One side of the record you heard was called Frankie. This is a cutie called Lipstick on Your Collar. Let's greet again Miss Connie Francis.
It's day one of a celebrity trial gripping much of the nation. Sean Diddy Combs, once one of entertainment's most powerful moguls, accused of crime so heinous, he faces the possibility of spending the rest of his life behind bars. He's denied all charges, and just a warning, this story contains accounts, descriptions, and visual content of actual or alleged events that some may find disturbing.
Can't talk about the case at all.
All eyes are on this New York City courthouse as the federal trial for disgraced mogul Sean Diddy.
Can't talk about the case at all.
That Sunday. Frazier on dispute at City Courthouse as the federal trial for disgraced mogul Sean Diddy Combs begins.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs goes on trial today. Combs is inside the courtroom along with those prospective jurors. He faces multiple charges, including racketeering and sex trafficking.
The musician famous for hits like Bad Boy for Life and Can't Nobody Hold Me Down. Charged with sex trafficking, transportation for prostitution, and racketeering conspiracy, the 55-year-old has pleaded not guilty to all charges.
Today was a monumental day when we're talking about Sean Combs, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy. At one point, you also had the actual key to New York City. So to see him today facing trial on federal criminal charges is completely a downfall of who Puff Daddy, who Sean Combs was.
Prosecutors allege he used his power to force women into prolonged drug-fueled orgies he called freak-offs, and then threatened them into silence.
The freak-offs, according to prosecutors, were these sex marathons. Some of them lasted days, and they were fueled by ecstasy or other party drugs. And women were not allowed to leave.
Highly anticipated at the trial, the testimony of Cassandra Ventura, the singer better known as Cassie, is at the center of this now infamous video. The disturbing scene appears to show Combs chasing her down a hotel hallway in 2016, knocking her down and kicking her. The first evidence shown to jurors today, videos and photos from that violent encounter.
Everyone was leaning in and focusing and watching this video. Literally, you can hear a pin drop in that courtroom.
A security guard who came onto the scene in the aftermath of that attack testified that Diddy had a devilish stare. Cassie had a purple eye. Another witness alleging he was paid to have sex with Cassie while Diddy watched, told the urinate on Cassie.
You heard so much about sex during the prosecution's opening, the defense opening. You heard about oral sex. You heard about missionary cells. You heard about baby oil being put on people's body. You heard so much. This is not a case for the proof.
Cassie and Diddy were in a romantic relationship for almost a decade, releasing hits like Me and You.
I know you're the one I wanna get to. Can see you want me through.
Her graphic and disturbing 2023 civil lawsuit against Diddy changed everything, helping spur the federal criminal investigation into the mogul. Diddy has denied these allegations, settled that suit without admission of wrongdoing. Diddy's mother and children arriving to court this morning to support him, along with Combs' spokesperson.
Obviously, it's like a horrific time for the family, so they're just trying to hold steady in their faith and make sure that they take care of each other.
How is Mr. Pence doing?
Upbeat. I think, obviously this is a huge deal, and so he's just ready to have his side told in the court.
Inside the courtroom today, Diddy smiling, blowing kisses to his family.
He's very observant as to what's going on in the courtroom, and he's taking part in his defense.
Both sides delivered their opening statements, making their case. The all-female prosecution team saying that Combs used a trusted inner circle to commit crime after crime, including kidnapping, arson, and sex crime. Prosecutor Emily Johnson saying, this is Sean Combs. To the public, he was Puff Daddy, or Diddy, a cultural icon, a businessman larger than life. But there was another side to him, a side that ran a criminal enterprise.
The prosecution is alleging that it was his inner circle that enabled him to be able to engage in these acts, but also hide these acts from the public and for it to go on for so long.
At least 3 alleged victims of Diddy are expected to testify, including Cassie, and a woman prosecutors are referring to as Jane. During opening arguments, prosecutors alleged that Diddy forced the women to participate in so-called freak-offs and instructed Cassie and Jane how to look, dress in lingerie, wear tall platform high heels, and have manicured white nails. Diddy's defense arguing the sexual relationships were consensual and not coerced, saying the rapper lived a swingers lifestyle.
The defense wants to say that these women are all adults. They're all consenting and willing participants in these freak-offs.
Defense attorney Tanya Garrigo saying in her opening statement that may not be what you like to do in your bedroom, but you're not here to judge him for his sexual preferences. She later added, being a willing participant in your own sex life is not sex trafficking. That disturbing video was also part of the defense's opening argument, plainly saying it was an instance of domestic violence. Garagos saying, domestic violence is not sex trafficking. Had he been charged with domestic violence, had he been charged with assault, we would not be here right now.
The defense said that Sean Combs may be a lot of things. He may have committed domestic violence, but those aren't the crimes the defense said that he's charged with. So in effect, the argument is he's a criminal, just not the kind of criminal they say he is.
The first testimony of the trial taking jurors to Los Angeles, March 2016, the hotel where that surveillance video was taken. The first witness, an LAPD officer who worked security at the hotel, he says he responded to a call for a woman in distress on the 6th floor.
When he got to the floor, he noticed that there was glass on the floor, that the vase and the flowers were broken.
Security guard described going back to Diddy's hotel room and standing in the doorway while Ventura grabbed her things. Inside, another man sitting at the corner of the bed.
So from the very start, the first witness brings the jury into that hallway where he said Sean Combs looked at him with a devilish stare and Cassie Ventura had a purple eye.
Sean Combs tried to offer him money, to give him money to make this go away, and he said he wouldn't accept the money.
The second witness to take the stand, Daniel Phillips, a man who said he was paid to have sex with Cassie on multiple occasions at several high-end New York City hotels while Diddy watched. The witness said he was paid between $700 and $6,000 each time.
So Mr. Phillips agreed to go to the Gramercy Hotel to do a performance for a bachelorette party. At least that's what he thought. But when he got to the hotel, to the room, that Cassie opened up the door. He did not know that was Cassie, and that she told him, well, it's my birthday, and my husband wants to do something special, so can you give me a massage with this body oil, and then we can just take it from there and see where it leads.
Diddy allegedly in the corner masturbating, wearing a bandana over his face. During these meetups, he says Diddy would often give directions, at times tell him to step off and back up because he was going to get something.
Sean Combs' children, his mother came to support him, but when the testimony became graphic, his daughters stood up and walked out. Came back in at one point, the testimony got more graphic about ejaculation, about urination. That was too much. They turned and walked out again.
Phillips also described witnessing Diddy drag and hit Cassie, but asked by prosecutors why he didn't intervene in the testimony. My thought was that this was someone with unlimited power. Chances that even if I did go to the police, that I might still end up losing my life. Cassie, who's now 8 months pregnant, is expected to take the stand tomorrow.
Cassie's the case. Cassie Ventura, who has not spoken about this publicly except in a civil lawsuit, is taking the witness stand as a star witness.
Her husband and father of her children spotted in court today. If convicted, Combs could face life.
Pretty little baby. Da 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 dee.